You've made it to the beginning of the week, everyone. Welcome into the News 10 Plus Digital Desk. I'm Taylor Gattoni with Claudia Sella from Studio 10.
Hey, happy Monday, everyone.
Happy Monday. How are you?
Good. I'm really happy that it's not so hot.
Yeah. No, thank goodness. This feels like a cool, I know earlier today on News 10 Today at 11, we're like, it's going to be a cooler week. And I was like, well, compared to last week, it will be a much cooler week.
Yeah, it's actually like not that. I mean, like it's still humid outside. You can feel it, but it feels way better. And it doesn't feel, you know what I don't like? I don't like the air conditioned to going outside feeling.
No.
And then I don't like coming back inside. So this is not like a shock every time.
Thank goodness.
Nice adjustment. But we have a great show. The weather doesn't really change the show.
That is true. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, have you been to the UP?
Went for the first time last year.
I always have
It was
to ask.
beautiful. It was amazing. Well, yeah, because a lot of people actually in Michigan have not been to the UP.
And go their whole life without going to the UP.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's absolutely beautiful. The UP is one of my favorite places. It's truly like a magical place. I feel that way. There's something like beautiful about it there. There's like a good energy up there. But we are talking to an author today. I bring this up because we are talking to an author today who wrote a book called 101 Things to Do in the UP Before You Die.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
It's a list of everything that you need to do in the UP before you're not here anymore. And it lists, some of the lists is like actually like, you know, some of the big things like, you know, Pictured Rocks and Tequamanen. But then there's also those like little things too that people kind of forget about.
Yeah.
So it's really a great conversation. Super excited to talk about
I
that.
like that.
But then we also have, we're previewing Black Girl Day of Play. Rochelle gives us a really good preview into the day, and it's going to be super fun. She had a great time, and if you want to see Rochelle be athletic. That's what I'm saying about that. You got to watch because it's actually really funny. She has a really great time, and it's really hard like not to laugh when you're watching it because she's laughing and having so much fun.
That's good. That's good.
So we're going to talk a lot about that, and then we've got our Eaton County Fair giveaway because the Eaton County Fair is coming up. So if you want to know how to get in on our really awesome giveaway, you're going to want to tune into the show today because we're going to tell you how to do that and how you can possibly win the giveaway.
And the fair is going from July 8th through the 13th. So mark your calendars, win these tickets. It's going to be a lot of summer fun.
That's actually really soon.
Yeah.
That's in
up quick.
2 weeks.
Isn't that wild?
2 weeks. That's, yeah.
I was thinking about it earlier. I went for a little run yesterday, and I was like, you know, we're already
July.
halfway through the year.
Yeah,
I was like,
we are. We are literally halfway through, more than halfway through the year now.
It still feels like the beginning. No, but we're halfway done.
Wow. Thanks for reminding us all.
You're so welcome. That's a little like, I was like, oh, it's kind of scary to think about.
No, oh my gosh, you're
Not
right.
scary, but you know, you're like,
It
it's
is.
flying by.
It is really flying by. Wow. Well, that's a jump scare for you, everyone, on this Monday. But then we've got Love Lansing Like a Local. We're talking about the Abrams Planetarium, which I went to for the first time this year, and I was amazed.
It's so cool.
Took me literally out of this world. So, super excited about that. And then we're also talking about YMC camps. We've got a bunch of really fun camps all over Lansing, like speckled in different areas all over Lansing this summer. How you and your kids can get in on the fun for those camps, because we know that everyone's out of school now. So, how you can get in on the fun. But yeah, we've got a full show today. So if you don't have anything to do, we'll see you at 3 p.m.
Sounds good. Thank you, Claudia. Looking forward to
course.
it. And the UP, you have to check it out. So yeah, make sure you're tuning into Studio 10, learning all the different 101 things to do before you die up in the UP. I want to see that list. I'm sure it's got a bunch of great things on there. And for those who have been to the UP before, I'm sure there's a bunch more things you can add to your list, and hey, why not go back up there and check it out? But yeah, Studio 10, make sure you're going to see them at 3 o'clock in just over 50 minutes here. And if you want to sponsor or advertise with them, you can send them an email at studio10@wilx.com. Or if you want to go to their YouTube page, WILX Studio 10, this is where you can find all of the previous videos that they've had on their shows. Anything you want to do in the area, planning for the weekend, planning for the month, checking in on the weather to see what you can do, whether that's an indoor activity, outdoor in the area. Make sure to go check that out in Studio 10. They have so many different fun, variety of fun on their social media pages, so go check that out. And speaking of the weather, we'll head over to our WILX.com homepage here. We had Darren Rockwell on this morning for News 10 Today and News 10 Today at 11. We're going to have Colton Sikoracki coming up For Studio 10, first at 4 in our 90 minutes of news. So if I click on First Alert Weather, you're going to see Darren updated this. Sun today, a lot of sunshine, and I'll show you some live looks across mid-Michigan. So this is the little blurb he had that you see right here. But if you click on Read More, you're going to get this whole description showing you about a first alert coming in late tonight and into Tuesday morning because of gusty thunderstorms rolling into the area. So if you're watching News 10 today at 11, you heard Darren talking about the storms that we're going to be getting tomorrow morning during your morning commute. So we're going to scroll on down. We'll take a look at the radar in just a second. But I just want to show you the hourly, the 3-day, the 10-day, inter-weekend forecast. But just for the first 3 days here, notice how it's feeling already much cooler and much more bearable than it was last week with the huge heat wave we had Monday through Saturday. So I'm sure even yesterday you were feeling like it's kind of had a fall feeling to it. But yes, we're going to be in the low to mid 80s today and tomorrow. Watch out for those gusty thunderstorms that Colton will be talking about later today. And then Wednesday should be feeling pretty good too. But I'm going to show you a future look at our radar here. We're going to play this out, see what it kind of looks like later on today. And as you can see, when you're driving home from work later today on your evening commute, it's looking good. It's when we get up late today that you should be seeing, and by late today, I mean late tonight in the overnight hours. More so heading into tomorrow morning, we'll get those gusty thunderstorms. So just make sure you're checking back in to WILX.com. Oops, let me scroll back up. That's what I wanted to do. You can see more on WILX.com under the First Alert Weather tab. Otherwise, you can download the First Alert Weather app for free off of Google Play and the Apple App Store to learn more about your First Alert forecast. And then you can tune into Colton, who's going to give you a much more in-depth look on Studio 10, first at 4 in our 90 minutes of news. We do have Erin Bowling standing next to me right now.
Hello, and hi, Chris Schultz from East Lansing. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, yes.
Happy Monday. It's still quite hot out there. I'll tell you what, I was
hot.
at the Capitol today breaking a sweat carrying that camera around.
80 degrees is still hot,
yes,
just much better than last week.
Yes, and I've, got such fair skin. I'm Irish, I don't handle the heat super well. But yeah, today I was at the Capitol. There were some folks out there, predominantly women, but they were rallying for kind of, just looking back. So today is the 2-year anniversary of Roe versus Wade getting overturned. And so they gathered at the Capitol to kind of reflect on where we're at, where we've come, and kind of look towards what they'd like to see in the future. Now, the folks at the Capitol today, they were very much in support of reproductive freedoms, reproductive rights. And so their message was kind of, looking towards this fall. They were talking about who they'd like to see elected to kind of further their wishes or their viewpoints. But kind of on the flip side of things, I headed over to Planned Parenthood in Frandor, and pretty much every day of the week there is somebody out there with a pro-life sign. They're trying to talk to people who are entering, and they're not always talking to these individuals. A lot of times they're just there, but they're trying to share their message of being pro-life, and they're, I believe there are other options other than abortion to, their message was definitely, saving the children, saving the babies, finding other options like adoption, fostering. The woman who I had spoke to outside of Planned Parenthood that was advocating for life, she had said that her husband was adopted, and she had some pretty interesting stories with some of her grandchildren. So it was pretty interesting talking to both sides about the Roe v. Wade being overturned 2 years ago. Got their input on what happened, where we're at now, and then where they'd still like to see us go.
Well, like you mentioned, a lot of them talking about who they're going to vote for this coming November election, because it's a big election. And I know, you have former President Donald Trump and you have current President Joe Biden both taking those angles on reproductive rights. And so I feel like a lot of the voters this year are going to be paying attention to those points right there and what they're going to be doing, managing, because we've had the abortion cases, whether you're talking about is it legal or not, and per state, so at a state level. And then also talking about things like the abortion drugs like mifepristone. There's been huge talk around that. So the story you're doing today, marking the 2 years, is huge with all the viewpoints.
And it was very interesting. We've got the woman who was at Planned Parenthood advocating for life, and the the women who were at the Capitol advocating for choice. And while their viewpoints, you know, they both feel very strongly about their sides. Their viewpoints really, I feel like you could say they couldn't be more different. But they had a lot of, you know, similar, I guess, sentiments, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you'll hear more about that on News 10 at 6.
All right, News 10 at 6. We'll make sure to tune in. Thank you, Erin. That's a big story that you're working on. I know, again, with the Supreme Court made that decision 2 years ago. That was had a lot of comments. We'll say that.
It's a big talker.
Yes,
to
it is
say
a
the
very
least.
big talker.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, we'll see you coming up during our 90 minutes of news, Erin.
News 10 at 6.
There
yes,
we go.
Thanks for having me.
News 10 at 6. Thank you, Erin. And then coming up the rest of the day here on News 10. Coming up in place of Mid-Michigan Matters, we're actually going to be sharing a story about Michigan's cherry crop this year.
Oh.
Yeah, so there you go. And maybe, you know, Claudia was up here talking about going to the UP. You been to the UP, Erin?
You know, I've been to the UP when I was very, very little, and I don't really remember it all too well, but I would love to go back, you know, kind of drive around, see what's going on up there, because while I went, you know, when I was very young, like I said, I don't really remember it, and I want to check out Mackinac Island again. I went to that when I was very little, don't really remember it too well. So yeah, I guess I'll have to tune into Claudia's story, see what's up.
We should take a road trip. We'll do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would say they have Cherry Republic up there, which, you know, if you're a huge Michigander, you've been to Cherry Republic, you know how delicious it is. But we're going to be talking more on Michigan's cherry crop for this season and how the warmer than usual winter is going to be impacting these crops. So make sure to tune in coming up in place of Mid-Michigan Matters on First at 4 today. And then coming up on News 10 at 5, the greater Lansing area has seen a few football players accomplish their dreams over the years of making the NFL. And over the weekend, one of them returned and gave back to the community that was critical in his success. So News 10 Sports' Owen Ozust will have more on that story coming up News 10 at 5 today. Great story. Make sure to tune in. And then coming up News 10 at 5:30, the U.S. Surgeon General is proposing putting warning labels on social media, similar to what's seen on cigarette labels and alcohol labels. So Dr. Vivek Murthy says social media channels are as dangerous to children as harmful drugs, and they may be more addictive. So coming up today on News 10 at 5:30, our consumer technology reporter Jamie Tucker breaks down the proposal, what it might look like, and whether the labels would make a difference when it comes to social media for children. That again coming up News 10 at 5:30 today. Coming up News 10 at, coming up late tonight, a developer from Chicago is presenting their plan to Lansing City Council on converting City Hall into a hotel. So Lansing City Council meets tonight at 5:30. We're going to have the very latest on the story coming up on News 10 at 6. All right, well, you just heard from Erin Bowling on what she has coming up during our 90 minutes of news. We're going to send it over to Mars Anderson in just a little second here, but I just want to show you what else you can expect. Again, just look at those bullet points for a little bit longer. If I talk too fast for you, you can make sure you're tuning into that one more time. And then also, let me show you what Studio 10 has coming up one more time, because, again, tying in Michigan's cherry crop, you can tune into Studio 10 to learn more about what they have in terms of talking about 101 things you can do up in the UP. So again, make sure you go checking that out, because, I mean, hey, that's super cool. And if you've been to the UP, you know there is plenty to talk about and to explore up there too. I mean, it's not just Mackinac City and Mackinac Island. We mean the UP, the Upper Peninsula, when you cross over the bridge past St. Ignace. So make sure that you're checking that out. Otherwise, we do have Mars Anderson, who's also been outside today. I know it's still warm outside, but much better than last week. So he's going to share what he has coming up today, News 10 at 5:30.
Hi, Taylor. Mars Anderson here in Real Town, actually in front of the Board of Water and Lights headquarters, talking with the company today about a new policy that would credit customers' accounts for security deposits they could have paid years ago. What customers qualify and how are they feeling about this? I'll have those details during News 10 at 5:30.
All right, thank you, Mars. Talking about security deposits coming up with when it comes to the Board Water of Light. He is in Lansing. He's going to be sharing more on that News 10 at 5:30 today. But while he's outside the Board Water and Light, you're probably thinking about your utilities, especially with all the warm weather that we've had recently. So I'm going to show you a live look over downtown Jackson right now. As you probably heard Darren Rockel, if you tuned into News 10 today at 11 this morning, you probably heard him talking about the cooler temperatures to start off this week compared to last week. But hey, we're still starting off today under the blue skies in the sunshine. You are seeing some clouds still across mid-Michigan, but hey, it is a beautiful day once again. Like Darren was mentioning, it's going to be in the upper 70s today, so it's going to be feeling pretty good and maybe even getting up into the low 80s. So again, that is what you can look forward to. Then we're going to take a live look over downtown Lansing. It's kind of looking a little bit hazy over there, but you're still seeing the blue skies, still seeing that sunshine. And same story in Delta Township. I'm just going to give a few live looks across the area so you can see what we have coming up today. So that is Delta Township. Let me try to send you over to Michigan State University because I know that Chris Schultz is joining us from East Lansing. In East Lansing, Michigan State University's campus looking much more vibrant. There's got to be like something, you know, it's just the magic of the campus. It looks always so vibrant. You get the beautiful blue sky, still some of those big white puffy clouds, but otherwise it's looking like a very nice day across mid-Michigan. So this is just a live look of everything that you're getting. I shared what was coming up today on News 10, first at 4, our 90 minutes of news. Claudia was up here sharing what's coming up Studio 10. Erin Bowling was sharing what she has coming up today on News 10 at 6. And you heard from Mars Anderson on what he has coming up today on News 10 at 5:30. I know it's a lot going your way, so just make sure you're continuing to check back into News 10 and the First Alert Weather app and our News 10 app. But one last thing I want to check in before we head out here is showing you a look at our You're Not Alone mental health series and just having a place where you know where to go to find those mental health care professionals and to find those mental health resources that can improve your emotional well-being. And so know that you're not alone. Everyone's got their own story of what's going on that's affecting their emotions, just impacting their day-to-day life. Whether it's a little thing that you're going through that's still having an impact, or maybe something more traumatic and it's lingering and it's really hard to process those emotions on your own and figure out where to go. Know that there are mental health care professionals out there for you who want to help. They're there to help you. And so whenever you feel ready, know that there are these resources to go out there. So whether you're facing anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, stress, anxiety. It also could be addiction, whether that's with substance abuse or even gambling. Anything of the sort, know that you're not alone and there are those resources out there for you. Just make sure that you go check that out. I do want to give a few live looks here before we head out on the little desk. So I'm going to give you a live look over Mason. Make sure that you are heading out this week. Beautiful temperatures, beautiful weather. Besides tomorrow, right, or heading into tonight and early tomorrow, you will get those gusty thunderstorms that Darren was mentioning and that Colton will be mentioning later today. But then we'll get a live look over 496. Just make sure you're heading out because it's beautiful. Take the dogs for a walk. If you need to improve your mental health, going for a walk, being outside with the sun will help that for sure. Of course, among other things too, to improve your own self-love, self-respect, anything that will improve your emotional well-being. But yes, this is a live look outside 496. Traffic seems to be moving just fine. But as a reminder before we head out here on the desk, going into tonight, the overnight hours into the early morning for your morning commute Tuesday morning, just know to be on the lookout for any gusty thunderstorms, any strong rain showers, just anything of the sort like we experienced last week. We want to make sure that you're staying safe as you go about your week. So make sure you're continuing to stay tuned up with us here, both on air and online on News 10. Studio 10 gets started here in less than 40 minutes, and we hope that you'll join us then. So have a great day, everyone.